we see ourselves, we know that we are well skilled in providing for the diverse needs of students who are identified as at risk. We're very, very proud of that work. And that sets the stage for our meeting tonight. All across the state, and I will share that it's even beyond the state. I think last year we touched 11 different states who were asking for help programming in a similar way to the way we program, because people are looking at us, watching our data, making sure they understand what we do, and what they're seeing is lots of success for students, particularly students who have some challenges. So in the light of that, it turned out that Governor Pritzker came to us and said, we want to build something really special, particularly focused on mental health needs of students, and additionally focused on students who are in the care of the state. And we're going to talk more about that. But what I'd like to share now is a very brief video of when Governor Pritzker came to our Lexington site in Maywood and introduced his new blueprint for mental health for children across the state of Illinois. And he chose to come to West 40 based on the programming that we do. So I'd like to share. There you go.
This is one of the state's great partners, educating kids, and also a state-of-the-art best practice treatment and services provided for youth, some of whom have behavioral health needs. We can't do the work that needs to be done in the state of Illinois without West 40 and organizations like it that help us deliver those services. So thank you for that and so much more.
When our youth feel heard, supported, and safe, there is absolutely no limit to their dream or potential. As we stand here today celebrating the announcement of this blueprint, I'm also proud to celebrate my friends here at West 40 who have taken significant steps in finding the ways to serve our youth.
Welcome to my grammar school. Yes, yes. Isn't this exciting? This is the place where that little girl who they're trying to help, this is where it all began for her.
So I love that that video ends with west40.org. I would strongly encourage any or all of you to check out our website. It's full of wonderful stories of our programming. But that was the basis of launching what we are going to be building at the St. Joe's campus. And in particular, we want to focus on needs of students who are in foster care across the state. The fact that we have had the opportunity to help other programs start to grow, develop, and flourish reflects back on the fact that the state is looking to us to set up a model program. And the two things that are really unique are the mission and background of West 40, but also that this is going to be a residential setting, a safe place for students who don't have anywhere else to be. Many of you who've attended these meetings have heard me say, on any given day, there are about 250 students across Illinois that have no place to lay their head. The need for residential is critical. And because we know how to wrap around our students and really embrace them wherever they are, you see on the screen where we're showing our mission statement, we meet you where you are. We're going to be what you need us to be. We're going to walk further with you, and we're going to stand strong with you. And some of our most vulnerable children need the West 40 mission, vision for what we know they can become and how we can help them be the people they deserve to be. So given that, we took our mission, we took our practices, we talked to the team at the governor's office, we talked to several different agencies across the state that serve children. And now we are developing our West 40 campus on the St. Joe's site. The next slide is an additional short video.
Hi, I'm Chris Coffey, and I'm on the West 40 communications team. We're beyond excited about what the future holds for St. Joseph High School here in Westchester. West 40 is a government entity that works as an intermediary between the state of Illinois and dozens of school districts in West Cook County, and we recently purchased St. Joseph High School. Our plan is to renovate the school and turn it into a state-of-the-art learning facility, and we want to be a good neighbor. So let's take a tour inside to see the school as it is now, and we can tell you what we envision for the future. St. Joseph is the ideal choice for West 40 to serve students, build strong community connections, and support the governor's commitment to providing education services to youth in need. We foresee about 40 students learning and living here at any given time, and we hope the school is up and running by March of 2024. Dr. Mark Klaisner is West 40's Executive Director.
The governor shared with the state his blueprint for transformation around mental health services, and he sees that as a collaboration of many state agencies. And we've come alongside and said we have the perfect location to provide a safe, respectful, state-of-the-art learning environment for students who have been marginalized for a lot of different reasons.
Keys to this plan include St. Joseph's abundance of classrooms, meeting spaces, a working kitchen, and living quarters. St. Joseph closed in 2021, and it remains mostly in good shape, but we are doing renovation work that includes asbestos abatement, roof repairs, and new windows. We also removed walls to create a larger space in the front of the school, while the refurbished library will receive new lights, new walls, a new floor, and new paint. In case you've been wondering what's happened inside the school since it closed 2 years ago, well, this is some of it. Lots of graffiti in the halls and here in the gymnasium. But don't worry, it will get fixed and we'll clean it up. Replacing all of the broken windows is also a top priority. Meanwhile, we've installed new exterior lights, and in the future there will be round-the-clock staff on site. On the north end of the property, the original St. Joseph has extensive damage, and we plan to replace it with green space, which could be used by the public and the park district.
So we imagine the space, the huge outdoor space with walking paths, perhaps an outdoor theater, outdoor classrooms, but then internal space for production, coursework, being able to work well with the community. So within a year from now, will be something ready to give back to the community and to partner with our neighbors and those in the surrounding area.
The entire operation will be funded by the state of Illinois. Meanwhile, there's still a lot of work to do, and West 40 will keep you updated as we transform St. Joseph into a new state-of-the-art learning facility. Thank you.
So we're very excited about how things will unfold, and at the last 2 meetings, we've had a chance to do Q&A with our community. Lots of questions about what's it going to look like and how long it's going to take. And we'll address some of those that have been submitted ahead of time. But this evening, I've asked Leslie Fuhrer, who's our director of the program, to talk a little bit about what will be happening once we open and students start living with us and attending our school. She's designing the program now, and we're very excited about what's in the future. But with that, I'll turn it over to Leslie so she can talk about what the program will look like inside the walls once we've finished our renovation and open.
Thanks, Mark. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about our philosophical approach. So at West 40, we believe that every single kid deserves the best chance possible of success. We know that youth come from a variety of backgrounds, and it's up to all of us as educators, administrators, families, the community, and those at West 40 to ensure that every child has an opportunity to become exactly who they're meant to be. West 40 is an organization that works to fill opportunity gaps that exist in our communities. We function under the thinking of where there's a need, there's a way. In fact, the vision for St. Joe's rose out of an opportunity gap that existed in our state for kids with unmet needs. We know that there are kids that need more and need different. And if you've ever heard Dr. Klaisner speak, you've heard him say that at West 40, we pride ourselves in being different. So we're utilizing that out of the box thinking to put together a model program for our most vulnerable youth at St. Joe's. So we will open St. Joe's for youth that come from difficult circumstances with open hearts, minds, and arms into a positive environment that will help heal their wounds and develop problem-solving skills that will aid them in future endeavors. Our purpose is to disrupt their current path, to change the trajectory to lead to a more promising future. We will accomplish this with a holistic wraparound trauma-wise approach that embodies the Circle of Courage methodology. The Circle of Courage is grounded in Native American ideology and has been embraced for many centuries in many indigenous cultures all over the world, but most specifically in the United States, the practices of the Black Hills Indians. The Circle of Courage focuses on 4 key components. They include belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. By developing these key components in the youth in our care, we will empower our youth and change lives. First, we'll talk about belonging. At St. Joseph's, youth will find a sense of belonging, perhaps for the first time in their lives, that will allow them to heal their wounds and develop the skills they need to change their life's trajectory in a positive way. Belonging is the most basic, yet the most critical element of our program. We will cultivate a positive peer culture where youth feel safe enough to trust again and vulnerable enough to accept the loving support from others. Next is mastery. Youth will develop mastery through personalized learning opportunities that will be constructed based on educational opportunities, academic challenges, and future aspirations. This process will help us collaborate to develop prescriptive plans for pathways toward educational progress and long-term goals. Youth will also partake in life skills training and vocational apprenticeships for student-centered learning experiences. By building competence, we work to empower youth to overcome challenges and find self-worth. Next is independence. Students will have a voice and the autonomy to solve problems. We will utilize the peer helping model to cultivate pro-social skills and empower youth with greater interpersonal, relational, collaborative, and communication skills, as well as group dynamics. Students will gain a sense of independence and self-confidence to maximize their success through the use of this powerful collaborative tool. And last but not least is generosity. This helping model will also be expanded beyond our walls through volunteerism and generosity of service. Utilizing altruism allows youth to look beyond themselves by giving to others and finding a higher purpose. Youth will impact multi-generations through their work with senior citizens as well as young children. Giving back will increase the talents of our youth in our care and increase confidence as they use their skills to positively impact our community by helping others. By utilizing a strengths-based approach in our residential model, we will work to foster the talents and interests of the youth through sports, music, art, adventure challenges, mentoring, and involvement in activities with pro-social peers. This whole child strength-based approach will allow us to wrap around our youth and engage them in activities that will nurture their social emotional well-being while disrupting their previous cycle for a brighter future. Keep in mind that every kid is just one caring adult away from being a success story. And we plan to hire 60 caring adults that will wrap around these kids to help achieve their highest potential of success. As the director, it will be my role to implement this philosophical approach to create a positive peer culture that will help the youth we serve find the utmost success. As a team, we will embrace each individual by meeting them where they are, being what they need, walking further with them, and standing strong with them. Michelle Martinez has joined my team, and this fall she and I will be in St. Joseph's working to build this model program. So feel free to connect and contact us as we build the program to extend our reach one life at a time. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Dr. Klaisner, and he'll take you on a virtual tour of St. Joe's.
Thank you. So what we have is a series of still shots. Some of you have seen these before. So we'll click through these relatively quickly. This is the main hallway as it looks today. Next. Here you have what used to be the library on the right and the main office on the left. You can see we've taken out all the carpeting and the tile, preparing for next steps. This is stepping into the library. It's a large space that we see using for larger meetings, maybe some community engagement pieces, lots of flexibility in that space. Part of what we do is reach out to our families. It's back to be whatever they need. And sometimes that's food distribution, clothing, community meetings, interfaith meetings, all kinds of different networks that come together. So this will be a large, wonderful, flexible space. This is the cafeteria, which seats 305. The most students we'll ever have in our program will be 40. So this is a large flexible space that we imagine students using in a variety of ways. We're going to look for flexibility in the sense that our students, this is both their home and their school. So the large cafeteria will have some flexibility for programming for our students. Next. This is a current shot of the auditorium. It's a beautiful auditorium. You can see theater seating with a stage. Behind us is the sound booth and light booth, which has lots and lots of possibilities for future collaborative kind of things. Obviously much more scope than we need for 40, but certainly opening the door to possibly connecting with our neighborhood schools or with community organizations. This is looking down the hallway. St. Joe's has 4 hallways that look almost identical to this. They all run east-west. All in all, there are 64 classrooms. And so a small portion of that will be specific to the school that we're running. And then other rooms will be used for additional services. Anytime you work with students at risk who have come through trauma, you need to provide an array of supports. And so we plan to be there and be what they need through a variety of ways. And we have some flexibility with these 64 classrooms. This is actually, this is 2 of the classrooms that have a folding wall in the middle, which can afford a larger space then. This is a glance down another hallway. At this point, I'd like to mention several folks have talked to us while we were on the parade route or through email or your questions. The question keeps coming up, is there going to be a piece of legacy within the school? And the definite answer is yes. In the front of the building, the St. Joe's sign is going to stay. The chapel will stay in place. The front will look very familiar with some minor changes. We are going to have the first major interior wall is going to be a legacy wall that will probably have a portion for Immaculate Mary Heart High School, St. Joe's High School, and a piece for the Christian Brothers that commemorates the nearly 70 years that they were open, and will display all kinds of artifacts in remembrance of what a great educational institution this has been. There are other things like particular trees that have been identified, the main sign out front. There are going to be pieces that are there, and we will refer to this space as West40 at St. Joseph's. So there will be a legacy strand throughout the entire building and around the outside as well. Folks who come back to visit will recognize a very familiar building that simply has been upgraded to new and wonderful learning environments for students. This is a picture of the existing art room. We don't have specific plans for this, but the room was designed for art. And we're strong believers in giving students as many possible ways to find themselves, find their talents, express themselves. So art will certainly be part of our St. Joseph's program. This just reminds us that there are some spaces there already ready to use. This is the photography room and included apparatus for students to learn how to do photography, dark room work, prints, and so forth. Again, we don't have a specific plan for that, but it fosters this idea of finding ways for kids to express themselves. This is a music room. You can tell by the tiered floor. It was designed for band or orchestra practice. Again, the arts are going to be a big part of what we do. We don't have any specific plans about this particular room, but certainly music is going to be part of what our students enjoy as part of this environment. This is an interesting space. This is the door into the chapel, and St. Joseph's has a beautiful chapel with amazing, if you go to the next slide, amazing stained glass that is perfectly intact, and it's just a gorgeous space. We, at this point, and we're pretty set on it, this space will stay intact as it is. We're not quite sure what, how we'll use it, but it certainly is a calming, relaxing space that could be used by our students or our staff or combined. It's a wonderful space that we will put to use without changing it. And as our alumni come back, they will recognize it as familiar. Yep. Great. So that's a very quick run through. Several questions. We collected, those who chose to register, some added questions that they would like addressed. A couple of those have already been addressed, but I'm going to go through and sort of hit the highlights of the common themes, so that I make sure I address the questions that were first shared with us. Several have asked about timeline. Some people ask, when are we going to be able to tour the remodeled entryway? Someone else asked about ecological restorationists. When will demo start? When will students move in? When will the north building be demolished? What is the building projected date? Timelines for renovation for IHM and St. Joe's. So, a little bit about green space. So there are a lot of questions about the timeline. And the trick with this is that we are working collaboratively with the governor's team and with these other state agencies. And so we can't really move at the pace that we want to. Since the last town hall meeting, Leslie and the team she's starting to grow, Leslie and Michelle, have submitted an abstract and a rough outline of the program that Leslie described to you this evening. That's been submitted to our colleagues in these other agencies, as well as a projected budget. So we're moving ahead. Both of those things are under review, and we're looking forward to a meeting next Tuesday to learn about how well we're programming for what could happen here to work in line with these other agencies. That's the specific production of what's happening in the space as we're trying to meet the needs of a variety of students. At the same time, if you're thinking physical space, several asked about demolition, about remodeling, what kinds of things have we got planning, when will demos start? It has been a common question since we've opened this up. What's going to happen with the north building? Actually, north buildings. There's a school, and then there's another house, a space that they call the Brothers House, for the teachers of the original St. Joe's on the north end. That building, as Chris Coffey pointed out in his video, that building needs to be demolished. It's not safe. It's dilapidated, and we need to take it down. So very soon we would like to take down that space. Now, what will happen, I'll just interject. Several folks have asked about, have we considered possible rodents that are in the building and what happens when we take those down? We have already started mitigation of pests. We've had multiple inspections, and we're actually contracting with pest management to make sure that we've mitigated that to every extent we can. We have not yet set a specific date for demolition of the north building and the brother's house. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second. We have put out 2 separate bid packages to start phase 1 of the construction in the south building. You saw the walls that had been taken out. You saw the tile floors that had been removed. We are ready to move ahead and start that construction. The bid openings are on the 31st. And so we will start making more specific plans and building our budget based on the bid openings within the next week or so. Another question that's come up several times, and again on this list, is asking about the coordination with the village of Westchester. At each of these meetings, I've mentioned that we have worked closely with the leadership of the Westchester community. We've worked with the village president, village manager. We've had an opportunity to meet some of the trustees. Those conversations are going very, very well. We're building those relationships. At the same time, the leadership in Westchester is asking us if we would be willing to go through the zoning process. And the main purpose there is, as Leslie said, we pride ourselves in being different. And although we're only opening a school and a residence for 40 students, it's something different than what has been done before. There has been people living on the campus. There has been 2 schools and 2 dormitories. But in those cases, they were the brothers, the Christian brothers, and they were nuns. They were Catholic high schools, and we're looking to do something different. And so the village of Westchester is requiring us to go through a zoning process to explain exactly what our plans are as we open this. So that has caused us to press pause for a little bit. As you can imagine, as we work with the state on our plans to develop this program, the plan wants to make sure that the village of Westchester is comfortable with our plans moving forward too. So it is our sincere hope that we will take down the north building. We will abate all of the asbestos first, and then carefully demolish the north 2 buildings, remove all of that debris, and then we would replace that with green space. And as our conversations go on with the village, we hope to do that very, very quickly. We'd like to see that all completed this fall. And at the same time, we will be working on remodeling the office and community space in the north building to fall right in line with the plans that we're designing. So we don't have specific timelines yet, but we're excited about the plans that we're starting to develop. I'm very excited that a couple people said, when can we come tour? When will the main office be ready for viewing? And in our planning stage here, we are thinking as soon as that's constructed and ready to open, we see having open house kind of events where we can tour people through the phase 1 additions that have been done. We won't do the whole building until that's really safe and we have permits to do that. But we're excited to show off the plans and making it a very, very welcoming place to our students, to educators, as well as to our community members. I've had several specific questions about labor laws, and as a government entity, we are compelled by law to use union labor or to use prevailing wage. Thank you. Or use prevailing wage. We will insist on that in all of our bid packages and in our planning and in our development. That has always been our commitment as a government entity and using public funds to work forward. So we'd like to see construction start in a few weeks. We'd like to see demolition on the north end start in a few weeks. It'll all depend on how our timelines unfold with the village of Westchester. Couple other things that people have asked. Each time we've met, there's been interest in what we're going to do with the green space. And one or two people in particular have made connections. We've got some very excited community members who'd like to partner with us. And frankly, education is my career. So we look forward to reaching out. A couple references have been an ecological action team, an ecological restorationist. We're not ready for that yet because we don't have, our permits in place and we don't have the okay from the village, but that is certainly our intention, is to work with professionals that know more about green space than I do. And we want to make that a space that could possibly be beneficial to the community, but also be a space that is a safe, restorative space for students who've been through trauma. So I can imagine in the video, I talked about walking trails or maybe a small outdoor classroom, but some place that allows kids to be outside, remembering that this is their home and their school. So if they can have some time and some space to stretch out a little bit, we think that would be very, very beneficial. Another question was about when would we see students moving in? It's likely, in the video, we had said that we hoped to be opening in March of 24. That would be a really, really aggressive timeline. And it's because we've had to sort of press pause and slow down our development. I believe it's going to be later than that. It's probably going to be more like the summer of 24, or maybe even toward the end of calendar 24, just to make sure we're getting everything done right and safe and well designed. We want this to be a model program for other programs across the state, but also to be very, very respectful of our staff, of our kids, without telling a whole lot of stories. The students we hope to serve are ones who have had a very difficult journey, and they have no place to be now. We want to bring them to a safe place where we can help them become, as Leslie said, become people they deserve to be. We're excited about that opportunity and plan to provide that for them. So we don't really have a projected date. We don't really have a date for kids to move in, but I would be surprised if we were really up and running in less than a year. And that would be a pretty aggressive timeline. But I would also promise you that very shortly, there will be a chance to come in and see the office space and to see what used to be the library and start to get to know us as the new St. Joe's campus. And as soon as we can do that safely and with the correct approvals, we will open the door and advertise that. So I think, Maria Elena, I believe I have addressed the questions that came. I had one question that said, would you be open to discussing the idea of a skateboard track? And that certainly fits in different. It's something we had not discussed before, but I will say nothing's off the table. We have some very strict guidelines about some things we can and can't do, but right now anything is open for discussion as we move forward. The only things that we have definite in the plan are the office, the community area, and where we intend to have the school for our students to attend when they're in the dormitory. If I may, this wasn't on this time's list, but both times before, people have asked about the funding mechanism. And it wasn't on the list, but I'm going to take this moment. The funding mechanism, West40 is not a taxing body. So unlike Proviso Township or Westchester 92.5, when you look at your real estate bill, it has those specific entities on your tax bill because they have the ability to levy. And so property taxes go into their funding. All of our funding comes directly from the comptroller from the state. So we are an intermediate government agency that's funded right from Springfield. So there's no direct line to any tax base in the West 40 area. We serve about 60 communities within the area, and our taxes don't come directly from the West 40 area. Our funds come, I've phrased that wrong. Our funds don't come from the taxes from our direct area. They come right from Springfield, and we have line items in the state budget that fund our programs. So if there's any concern about funding, about taxes, about the impact on our neighbors, I would welcome you to use the things that are on your screen now or contact West 40. I would be more than happy to talk that through with you. All of the funding is coming directly from Springfield and those agencies that we've mentioned, as well as funds that the governor's office is appropriating for this project. So when Chris Coffey in the video said, all the money comes from the state of Illinois, it's not local money, it's state money. And we're thrilled to work with these other agencies to put that money to good use. It is money that's already budgeted, and that they are willing to partner with us and provide a model learning environment for students across the state and serve as a model for elsewhere. And if people do have a question or concern, I can go into much more in-depth conversation on the phone or meet with people in person. I know it's a common question, and I just want to, be transparent and put it out there if folks would like to talk to me at some point.
There are a couple questions now.
Okay.
How often will updates be given? That's one of the questions.
So we have a communications team here. We've been talking about whether or not we want to do another town hall, maybe one more in September. Those of you who have attended all three have gotten the same information 3 times. And if we were to do some significant work in construction, or if we were approved for demolition on the north end, those would be things we would want to share with the community. So some of the things we were talking about are social media, Facebook. We have also loved the opportunity to meet twice in person. I would very much like to do that, whether that's an open house format. But the communications team is committed to at least monthly updates as we go. And if we're progressing faster than that, we will be sending those out. The contact that's on the screen now, you can see there's an FAQ page, and I think that we're updating the FAQ about once a week. So there are ongoing, almost real-time updates on that FAQ page. But in terms of opportunities to get together, I would like to see open house. I'd like to see other opportunities, social media for sure. A lot of our neighbors are keeping track on social media. But also you can subscribe to our newsletter, and there will be updates on our webpage as we are progressing. So there will be some formal events like this, but most of your contact information, most of the updates you'll find on the FAQ page, or pay attention to social media or our newsletter.
And we'll provide updates to the village printing paper as well.
Yep. So if you couldn't hear that, our director of communications said an additional outlet is we have been providing our updates to the village newspaper, as some of our neighbors said that's how they like to get their news. So we've been providing the updates to the newspaper as well. Thank you for that.
The next question is, will you be providing an on-site medical care for students?
So at this point, it's kind of a broader question. I do not see, we don't have part of a plan where we would provide a medical wing, like a clinic. However, because we're a school, if you think about when you went to school and you got a sliver in your finger, you went to the nurse. So we will have a nurse presence 24/7, because our students are living there. So there will be something like you remember of a school nurse, and we'll have that 24 hours a day. Anything beyond that we would either facilitate and take our students to a doctor, to a medical facility. But additionally, in West 40, in all of our other programs where we're serving students in 43 different sites, we are doing more and more now with mobile buses that are in our communities that can do either dental or can do immunizations or shots. So we've used that kind of mobile environment all around West 40, and we're getting better at that. So that would be another possible thing as well. But actually on site, our current plan would be to have a 24/7 nurse station. So the students have attention, but not like a clinic or a medical one.
Then there's another question. Will the students be chosen from each community? How will that be handled so that each community has a chance to assist a student in need?
That's an outstanding question.
It's actually a DCFS referral process, where the families get options, or, you know, whoever the unit is that's referring, they get options and they decide which one they feel is the best fit for their students. So it's not like we select or anything like that, so.
An interesting piece of that, if I may.
Mhm.
In talking with a couple of the agencies, and Leslie's been building this proposal. One of the things that we will be engaged in is what they call family find. In a couple of our other meetings, folks have said, what happens when that student graduates from your program? And where do they go? And so a component of our program will be not only helping students get back on track, but to assist with finding their permanent families. And so we see that being a big part of our mission. Again, it's walking further, standing strong. But that will be a part of our program too, that as students are progressing and ready to move on, we help find the next step in a safe place.
Was there a discussion of the age group?
So there's been several. In our proposal, we were encouraged to leave that pretty open. We have been told it's most likely going to be boys, and it's most likely going to be middle school. Several people who visited have heard me say they have not determined that yet. We find that a bit challenging, to be honest, because it's hard to program. By example, use extremes. If we were programming for second graders or programming for high schoolers, that would be very different. But what we're hearing is the greatest need is middle school. But we've been encouraged to think more broadly because there may be some students that are older, there may be some that were younger, but basically we're looking at middle school. And it's most likely there are more boys in the queue than there are girls. So that's what we're being told from DCFS. At the same time, the two of us are working hard to try to be flexible in terms of what they're going to be asking.
That's all the questions that were asked.
So if I can just throw in a little extra commercial here. Some of you, we got to meet you for the first time in what we call room 1 in our Hillside office on Roosevelt Road. Some of you, we got to meet in our St. Joseph gym, and that night was really warm too, but it was 30 degrees cooler than tonight. So we got to meet some more of you there, and that was delightful. Next week, the Hillside office is closing. We have built a different type of program, totally different program in Maywood, and our offices are going to be on the second floor of that new office in Maywood. So you'll start to see some things about our move. We're very excited about that space. But if you tried to reach out to us, we're using the same phone number, so you should still be able to connect with us. All of the websites, the emails, all that will stay the same. But I just wanted to alert our neighbors that we're moving our offices to Lexington Elementary School, 415 Lexington in Maywood. And that will be the center of our operations as we're building out our St. Joe's campus. So we love that we're only going to be 12 minutes to the east, and it's going to be a much nicer, beautiful professional space that we look forward to sharing with you. But don't hesitate. Don't wait for town hall meetings. Email us, call us. We want to be amazing neighbors to our Westchester community. And we're looking forward to all the possible opportunities, from green space to programming to anything you can come up with, ideas that we can talk through. We want this to be first and foremost a model program, state of the art for the students we serve. But secondly, we see lots of opportunities to connect with our community. And we look forward to building these relationships moving forward. One more question, okay?
Would you consider a labor harmony clause for this in all upcoming projects?
So it's an interesting question, because my understanding of the core of that question is around union and prevailing wage. And so there are some things that we're just obligated by law. And I think it sounds like sort of a trite answer, and I don't mean it to be, but I think we would consult with the State Board of Education, with the governor's office, and with our attorneys about sort of binding contracts. But in the long run, without a doubt, we will be using union labor or prevailing wage. And if it was something that someone wanted to discuss about a specific binding kind of document, that always involves the attorneys. And because the governor is a big proponent of what we're trying to build, I would want to involve his office as well in terms of a binding contract. And with that, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for being flexible with the way our our change of location and venue. Thank you for being interested in our future. We will look forward to staying connected with you and keeping you informed. Have a wonderful evening. Please be careful and stay cool. And I look forward to updates from us in the very near future. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful evening.